Hey everybody, we are talking tiny homes with our man Sean Ryan today.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going. It's a Monday, everybody. So I am reviewing your story about these tiny homes in Lookout Valley. And you guys, it's really cool. While you're listening, you should go on Facebook or the website. The website has a whole
slideshow of that we couldn't get in the paper, inside the homes, outside the homes, so you can get a pretty good idea of what they're like, where they're at, and what they look like inside if you want to rent them.
Okay, so Sean and I were just talking off camera, but we're going to go through everything. I'm really interested. I was like, how tiny?
Well, it depends on the house. They have 4 of them out there right now. The smallest is 140 square feet, so it is tiny.
It's like New York, or less.
Yes, but yeah, it's about the same. No, it's cheaper than New York. It's about
definitely cheaper.
It's about $139 a night, I think they told me.
Oh wow,
yeah,
that's cool.
For the smallest one. The
so how does that work?
In terms of what?
Like $139 a night. Are they?
You go on Airbnb,
okay.
And that's how you reserve it, and that's how you pay is on Airbnb. And they say they're reserved weekend-wise.
Oh.
Up and not completely, but up until March, they've got reservations. They're still, you can still sign up for some weekends, but they're getting a lot of attention.
And let's talk about where they are. You said they are hard to find.
They are in Lookout Valley, and you've got to have GPS unless you're a bloodhound. I almost got lost with GPS. I mean, they're technically they're Wildwood, Georgia. In reality, they're somewhere out there.
Somewhere out there.
It's just they're out in the boonies.
Yeah, I have no sense of direction, so I'd be.
You would be out in Dade County for years trying to
Fox
find
Mountain
them.
in the middle of the fires again, like last week, right? Awesome. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the details. And I hope you guys are looking online, like we talked about. There's a slideshow on the website, and it got like 16,000 hits yesterday. So go hit. Okay, so let's talk about these different 4 tiny homes. Tell me what they're like. Like as you walk.
As you walk in.
Yeah. What did you feel like when you saw it outside? First of all.
When you see it outside, they're pretty. I mean, each are designed differently.
Okay.
So the old blue chair is what they call it. It's kind of rustic farmhouse.
Old blue chair.
That's the name.
That's
they've
cool.
named each of their tiny homes.
Cool.
Wandering Gypsy is the one that's 140 square feet. They put it together.
That would be mine.
I'm 6'1", and I didn't feel scrunched.
You liked the Wandering Gypsy?
That's the tiny one, and it's tiny. I mean, you wouldn't want to stay there for weeks and weeks and weeks. The Shangri-Little, which is the first one they ever built.
Shangri-Little?
Shangri-Little. And Brian Morris, the guy who's one of the owners, lived there for a while on top of Lookout Mountain.
And he sounds like a really interesting dude. Hey, Brian.
Yeah, when he rents Shangri-Little, he lives out of he lives out of his car, which is next door. He's quite proud that he has everything that he needs inside his car. Shangri-Little is nice on the inside. It's got a cigar humidor. Brian used to be in the cigar business. He and his dad. So
okay, this guy Brian sounds really cool. Like
he is. He is. I'm not being insulting here.
No,
if he lived next to the beach, he'd be a surfer dude.
Yeah, and he grew up in South Africa.
No, he was born there, but he said his dad was in the CIA and he moved 28 times before he was 30.
He got a feel for all these
different
sort of
he has
places.
He has the ability to pack up and go wherever he feels like he wants to go. And he said that's especially true now that he has a home that's sitting there waiting for him. He can go travel and then come back here.
So why here?
Well, he is here. Oh, he was driving to Utah.
Okay.
He's a big hang glider, and he was driving.
Imagine.
He was driving to Utah to hang glide, and he stopped at Lookout Mountain, took a hang gliding trip, and he said it was a 2-hour trip, which I'm assuming means he was in the air for 2 hours.
Oh.
And he loved it so much he decided to stay.
Cool.
And
okay. When was that? A few years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay, so we got off track because this guy sounds super cool.
Right.
You should come on, or we should take another tour. Okay. So you see these 4 different places. We've talked about them. Shangri-Little,
Old Blue Chair, Wandering Gypsy, and the biggest one is Bedrock Cave House.
Oh.
Bedrock is Flintstones, and look it up.
If
you're too young to know what Flintstones are, look it up. No, actually, it's the biggest one. It's about 500 square feet, and it's bigger than like 2 hotel rooms put together.
Someone screaming Wilma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's on the sound system.
Cool.
But it has a great view of Lookout Mountain, and it's tiny in that it's 500 square feet, but it's pretty big inside. You do not feel scrunch.
Okay, so they all look different from the outside.
Exactly.
So which one did you go in first?
Old Blue Chair.
You said that. Okay.
And
okay.
it's the rustic
farmhouse.
farmhouse.
Okay.
Then I went in Shangri Little, then into Bedrock, and then into Wandering Gypsy. And they're not. It's not like going into a tree house. These are well appointed stone countertops or cedar countertops, well put together, loft beds, air conditioning, septic system, so you're not going to an outhouse.
Important.
Really nice. I mean, well put together, everything looks nice and everything looks comfy.
Was it what you expected, or?
No, I'm not sure what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting luxury.
Yeah. So luxury in a tiny form.
Exactly. And like I
Cool.
said, I'm 6'1", and I didn't feel like I had to crawl around on my hands and knees.
Okay, cool. So who is renting these places?
They're coming from all over. On Airbnb, I saw some from Maryland, Atlanta.
Such a good
Knoxville,
deal,
Nashville.
too. Yeah. Hotel room is like 3 times that much
Easy.
if you're going to
And
go nice.
I don't want to forget the hot tub that's on top of the highest point on the property.
Oh, cool.
So you can
I
sit
wanna
out
go
there,
out there.
there at night, and I guarantee there's a billion stars above you. One of the things that Joe Curro, the co-owner, said is some guy from
Okay.
Ohio came down and had never seen a shooting star. And
Oh.
Joe said, if you don't see a shooting star down here, I'll give you your money back. And they were looking up, and then he said, less than a minute, a shooting star came across. And so, sorry, dude, you didn't get your money back, but you got to see a shooting star.
These people sound very cool. So the other dude who's a part of this also opened Superfly. I just talked to you guys yesterday, planning my kid's birthday party there.
The extreme
So,
place. Yeah,
so
that's
he's
what he
another
came
business
down
guy.
for.
Okay. Oh, okay, cool.
They met because Tiny House Nation did a story on Shangri Little,
That name is
and
like killing
Joe
me
saw
every
that
time.
on the internet and thought, oh, that's cool. And then he saw that he and Brian both were in Chattanooga, so he looked him up, and they got together and decided they're both into tiny houses. So
They're
said,
into tiny houses. Well, a lady named Joanna Waldo of Bethesda, Maryland, she stayed in Shangri Little. Can't help but smile or laugh every time I say that. Anyways, she says our first tiny house experience far surpassed all expectations.
I would say
Okay.
that's pretty accurate. When I went out there, I mean, you
Cool.
kind of expect, they threw them together. They're nice, but they're tiny, and these are very nice on the inside.
Oh, and somebody else said, you'll forget a night in a hotel, but you'll remember this.
I think that's
And
true.
like from what you're describing it, I have like a whole vision in my head, but it does sound like something memorable. You don't go and stay at a tiny house community in the middle of nowhere, Wildwood, Georgia every day. That sounds really fun. And I guess I really don't have a lot of experience with Airbnb, but it's pretty easy, right, for people to do?
Airbnb.com, I think, and you just go on there, and there is a Live a Little Chat, which is the name of the complex.
Cool.
You just go on there, and they will walk you through the process.
So, are they having a lot of success? Have they been able to profit yet? How long have these been open?
They've been open 2 weeks.
Oh, okay,
and
so
they
it's gonna be a
say,
bit.
well, they say they're booked. They have bookings through March.
Oh, well, that's really good.
And so they were kind of surprised at how well it has gone over and how quickly they've been getting response on Airbnb.
So, if somebody wants to just like check this out, do they really have to check it out online, timesfreepress.com, or can they drive out there and look around? How does that work?
Well, I believe the address is on the Airbnb website.
Okay.
You can plug that into a GPS and it'll take you out there. Be prepared, like I said, you're going over railroad tracks, you're going down country roads, you're going down gravel roads that you need to go down slowly or you will bottom out your car.
Ellis, we should not.
So
go
I mean,
out
it's
there.
not like you're driving over huge rocks or anything, but you know, it's out there, it's secluded, which was kind of the whole point.
Very cool. Yeah, and we give information on the side of the story on the link where to go.
Where to go, and also
livealittle.chat.com.
Yes, Live a Little Chat, all one word.
That's so cute.
And a few details about each one.
About each one.
And how much they are per night.
Very cool. Okay. So, what is, of anything, out of all of this stuck out the most for you? The property? Was it the hot tub or?
That caught my attention. No, what really stuck out for me was how secluded it was, how far away from anything it was. You've got a spectacular view of the western edge of Lookout Mountain.
It'd be really cool to rent the whole area out for like a small wedding or something like that.
They were
Maybe?
talking about in the future.
Yeah,
I
okay.
mean, right now it's a work in progress.
Right. I'm always thinking ahead, guys.
But I can see that. I mean, it would be a lovely place for a wedding, and then everybody just has to walk to their house.
Yeah. Very cool. What about for kids? What do you think?
Not a whole heck of a lot for kids out there right now. I'm sure there's
It's an adult getaway.
at this point they're talking about hiking trails and things like that, but they haven't got those started yet. But at this point, yeah, I'd say it would be a romantic getaway kind of thing.
Oh.
Although they did tell me that a family from France came and stayed in Bedrock, the cave house. So
More romantic people, you know.
I guess they
French
had
families.
kids, so
Well-
maybe they just stayed there and went out. It is close enough to Chattanooga that you can get here in 10 minutes.
Cool.
So
Okay.
you can stay there with your children, and then Bedrock would be about the only house I could think of that would be big enough for a big family.
Yeah.
You can fit 4 or 5 in each one.
Oh, wow.
We've got it up here. Accommodates
Oh.
5, accommodates 3.
Okay, so we have all those details for you in the story. And what else was I going to ask you? Oh, TVs, radio, any of that?
They have
Netflix,
Wi-Fi. They have Wi-Fi, but
Okay.
I didn't see any TVs
Okay,
or
Wi-Fi.
stereo systems. Now, I could have missed them, but I didn't see any.
Okay. Ellis, did you have some questions?
Yeah, what's the attraction with the tiny homes for people? Where do you think that's coming from? We're seeing a lot of this up in Ottawa. There was a big to-do about some tiny homes.
I
see a
think
lot on
it's the
internet.
green. It's got a very green.
You said they're very green.
They're very green.
Okay.
I think it's got that the tiny footprint that you're using less of the resources of the world. I mean, they said they have air conditioning units in every tiny home, and they said their entire bill for last month, all 4 was less than $100. So
Yeah.
you're using less energy, your footprint's smaller, you're just not using as many resources. And also, it's just kind of a nifty thing to do.
I think
you
it's
know?
cool for especially like a single person or for a couple, you know, who might not be home a lot too, to actually live in one of these. I know when I've lived in bigger cities, you can't afford to live in anything larger than a shoebox, but you're never home.
Right. I know
So-
somebody who's in Atlanta right now in a 600 square foot home that's $900 a month.
Yeah.
And, you know, the Bedrock house is 500, so you're really not.
I lived
Not
in a
wasting much
tiny
more.
place in LA like over 10 years ago, and it was 900 each for 4 girls for a 2-bedroom. 900 each. That was 10 years ago.
I'm guessing
Isn't
you
that
were
crazy?
tripping over each other at times.
It was all a blur, to be honest. But yeah. No, but I mean, it's just crazy. Like the tiniest places that you live in these big cities, they probably are nowhere near as nice as what you're finding out here.
I wouldn't think so. I mean, I would think a walk up in New York City would certainly not be as nice as these tiny
Yeah.
homes.
Yeah.
Do you
So
think
cool.
there's an element of like trying to simplify things a little bit too, because you don't have room in a place like this for all the kind of things that suburbanites tend to pick up, you know,
Right.
extra TVs and bikes and,
Yeah.
you know, whatever, all the things you buy in your house,
the
you know,
stuff.
workout equipment, yeah, all the stuff. It sort of precludes you from having that. Do you think there's like a sort of anti-consumerist or like sort
Oh,
of
absolutely. I mean,
life,
Brian, the owner, said he feels free now.
Oh.
He got rid of
Brian
all the
sounds so
stuff he
cool.
didn't really need, and he sort of simplified his life.
It
a lot, is what he
reminds
said.
me of Into the Wild, kind of. Did you read that book?
No, I did not.
It's a great book. Did you read it? Oh, it's so good. But it's about this dude, I forget his name, it's a true story, wanting to simplify his life and lives out in the woods in a...
No electricity.
Yeah, but he did die though, so yeah, let's not go into that. But yeah,
I know-
but it's a
I don't know of anybody who dies in
it's
a
a
tiny
beautiful
home.
message about just simplifying things, and
Just not your diet, because I think he starved to death.
Well, he ate a poisonous berry.
Yeah, that made it that made his hunger.
You do know.
Well, I read an article. I just didn't read the book.
Okay. Well, you should. You should. So the message is good. This is a little bit different, but I'm getting off track again. It's a Monday, having my coffee. But I really like in the story how you included the background on this interesting person, and to read about that is cool too. So it's not just like a real estate story like Ellis would write or something.
They come from different backgrounds, very
Yeah.
very different. One is Brian was like I said, his father was a CIA agent.
Lived all over the world.
Lived all over the world. Joe was in law school, so he was pretty grounded, but he said he was really not wanting to be a lawyer, and he just saw something on the internet about tiny homes, and it caught his attention and really sort of touched him. He thought, wow, this is a really cool
And he's
idea.
like a business guy.
Yeah, I mean, he owns Superfly, so obviously
Right.
he is a businessman, but he's also...
Well, it's good that you have
Integrating.
that combination. You see, because like a lot of people who are creative, like a lot of chefs and artists, sometimes not all the time, but when they start a business, they're lacking like that business sense because they're into the creative side of things. So I think it is a really good idea when you have both minds going into something.
I
So
would
this
agree.
sounds like it
Or a
should be
journalist, for
successful.
that matter.
Yeah. What do we need here? We need.
I don't know, but I opened a CD store in 1998. And
Really?
I wasn't ready for the business side of it.
I wouldn't
The
be
music
either.
side of it, no problem. The actual business side, I was terrible.
No, we just like the creative stuff. Yeah.
I could write the best press releases and ads, but I couldn't
Yeah.
balance a checkbook to save my life.
I guess that's why we have like the upstairs people.
Yeah,
Right? Hey guys.
exactly.
Yeah, I get it. What was your CD store called?
It's called Slip Disc.
Oh, that's cool.
It was great, except I opened it 18 months before Napster, which was a bad. Don't do that.
Just
Don't
bad.
open a retail store 18 months before something you've never heard of comes out and totally wrecks your business.
Valiant effort. Good. Okay. Well, this was a fun talk. We haven't had you on before. I'm
Nope.
excited that you had time for us today.
Oh, sure.
And I like your
Anytime.
tie.
It is a Beatles tie, as a matter of fact.
Cool.
It is based
What do you
on. It's
mean?
based
Oh,
on a
sorry.
Beatles song. Back in the early '90s, the
Uh-huh.
Beatles, the Apple Corp, got together with artists all over the world and said, "Pick a Beatles song and make a tie out of it."
Okay.
So this one is a little surreal. It's hard. Some of them are more
Oh.
obvious. Hard Day Tonight.
Hard
is
Day's
one.
Night. Yeah.
This is I Call Your Name,
Oh.
but even I can't figure out why it's I Call Your Name.
Well,
It's
there
a-
is some exclamation.
I guess he's
marks.
calling her name, but I don't see her anywhere. But I guess she's gone in the song anyway.
How do we know it's a her?
Because it was back then you didn't sing about he's didn't sing about he's in the '60s.
Why not? You just didn't.
I don't know because they were so uptight.
Well, I'm glad everyone's. Well, we had Leslie Jordan on the other day, and everyone is definitely. People are evolving.
Not yeah. Leslie would not be what I consider uptight.
No, he was not. It was really fun though, and so many people have been talking about that interview. So many of you have like stopped me over the weekend, and they really loved it. So if you haven't watched it, go back. Is it on the website too, or just on Facebook?
YouTube,
It's on
youtube.com/Chattanooga or videos.timesfreepress.com.
Are you getting sick? You sound kind of hoarse over there.
I was up late with all the shootings.
You're up late with all the shootings.
I was not doing the shootings, but I was.
Way to bring
Trying to
things
keep track of
down
them.
today, Ellis.
Confessions on Facebook.
Okay. Very cool. All right. Well, thanks again.
Anytime.
And this was fun. We'll talk about all that serious stuff that Ellis had to mention later on, about 2-ish. We'll be back to talk about the serious stuff, which unfortunately we have to keep telling you about because every single weekend we have more shootings, it seems like, coming in. So it's too bad. But let's end on a high note.
Okay.
Thanks, Sean.
You're
Tiny
welcome.
houses.
Tiny houses.
Check 'em out.
On the website, you can get a slideshow that'll show you more inside and out.
Yeah, I feel like we should do like a Facebook Live or something out there. That would be cool.
If you can get a signal.
If we can get a
Yeah,
they have
well,
Wi-Fi.
actually, they showed me a satellite dish that is pointed to a tower on top of Lookout Mountain. That's how they get Wi-Fi.
Oh,
So we could get a signal.
You could, yeah,
let's do
hopefully.
it. Let's try. Let's try. We'll take you to a tiny house sometime soon. Okay, bye guys. See you later. Have a good Monday.